Big Brendan Rodgers wasn't exactly happy with Celtic fans against St Mirren, but roll on a few days, Big Brendan is seeing the light side of it. Welcome back to Fog Football. They were chanting for Tierney. It annoyed Brendan. Brendan wasn't happy. Brendan called them out. Brendan then made a bizarre comment about Swansea. And you know what? Of course I want Brendan to take it bad. Of course I want Brendan Rodgers to get stuck into Celtic fans, because any unrest is good unrest in the eyes of a blue nose. But Brendan Rodgers has appeared to watch a Fog Football vid or two where we were like, what are you even on about, Brendan? This makes no sense. Why are you having a go at all these Celtic fans? But I think he saw the light side of it, because of course Celtic 2, Dundee United 0. There was songs about Larson, there was songs about Scott Sinclair, Lustig, Kieran Tierney again. Brendan Rodgers pointed this out in his post-match press conference. I'm reading the Glasgow Times here, and it's got on the back yet, Sweet 16, Maida and Atate on target as Hoops extend their lead at the top of the table to 16 points. I believe we'll probably have the Brendan Rodgers quote in here at some point, so we'll dive into that in a wee minute. But in terms of what he, the summary of what Brendan Rodgers actually turned around and said was, of course, here, they were singing about everybody, apart from Stevie the Kitman. That's not me. Big Stevie Cool's not the Kitman at Celtic Football Club. That is for sure. But we'll see what Brendan Rodgers said here. So, reading this wee article here by Graham McGarry. All eyes and ears were on the home crowd at a freezing Celtic Park to see how they would respond to manager Brendan Rodgers' weekend comments, but they reacted largely with humour, and yes, even a little patience as they stayed with their team during a sticky second half display. Dyson Maida opened the scoring in a first half that Celtic completely dominated, but United put up more of a fight after the break. It took until the 83rd minute for the hosts to put the game to bed through Rio Atate's composed finish. It was a composed finish. You can clearly see without Kuhn in there, Yang's just not at any point going to be replacing Nicholas Kuhn. To be honest, here, Nicholas Kuhn's put in fantastic numbers, and it would be very hard to replace him. He's kind of replaced the O'Reilly goals and assists, but the Green Brigade make their point. The Ultras in Celtic Park's North Curve were always going to have a little bite back at Brendan Rodgers after he accused them of being disrespectful to Greg Taylor by singing about Kieran Tierney during the win over St Mirren. Rather than direct their barbs at their manager, though, they responded by dusting off ditties about the likes of Henrik Larsson, Jota, Tommy Burns, Choi Mulgrew, Odsonne Edouard, Artur Boric, presumably to make the point that referring former players doesn't mean they're disparaging the current crop, though that rather ignores the fact that a return for Tierney is perhaps more realistic than seeing their King of Kings back in the hoops. End of quote. I just don't understand what Rodgers was getting at. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was disrespectful to Greg Taylor. You know what I mean? Songs get sung about players all the time, past and present. It doesn't happen. It's not like every 2 minutes, man, there's a song about somebody in the past, but I'm confused why Rodgers took it so bad. I mean, could it be he was a bit pissed off about the Rangers performance and he had to let his frustration out somehow? I'm not really too sure, but yeah, Rodgers seen the light side of it, and I seen something on Twitter about, this smirk for Rodgers is going to have every bear quaking in their boots and going to hibernation, because obviously that smirk for Rodgers is kind of alluding to the fact that there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong at Celtic Football Club anymore, and I don't know, it's like you hear some of the stuff that Rodgers comes out with, though, it's almost like he doesn't like a portion of Celtic fans. I mean, we can look back to the Chants Celtic fans, a minority sung about the guy, and, obviously an even lesser minority that broke into his house, etc., etc. I mean, I don't think Brendan Rodgers hates every Celtic fan. Of course he doesn't. That would be a ridiculous statement to make, but, it would only be normal to hold resentment towards a few people that broke into your house. So obviously, does Rodgers even know who done it? No, but he probably has a rough idea, Big Brendan, you know what I mean? But anyway, we smirk, put it to bed, tucked him in, and they moved on. But yeah, Celtic 16 points clear. Obviously, folks, tonight we have got Dundee against Rangers. Looking forward to the game. It shall be an interesting one. I mean, in terms of Dundee, they're on 25 points. A win for Dundee could put them into the top 6 above St Mirren, so that'll be pretty good. It would only put them 4 points off Motherwell. That says, of course, they beat Rangers, but Rangers' form, man, it's just absolutely bogging. It's disgusting, to say the least. But obviously, it was another game. Kelly Motherwell drew 0-0. That moved Kelly up to 26 points and Motherwell up to 32. But we'll talk a bit more about that in the SPFL review show. I believe East Fife also beat Edinburgh City. I don't know. Can you confirm or deny that? I don't know, but aye, pretty easy for Celtic yesterday. Brendan Rodgers, smirks, Sweet 16 references, 16 points clear. You can't really complain if you're a Celtic fan.